Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday morning. Everybody's off at school except for Dad and Ruby. And we did a Whatnot show last night. I sold 30 lots to 7 people. It took me 2 hours. My average was $3 and something, and I net $116 on this in the 2 hours and maybe 45 minutes of shipping. But mostly we're getting rid of the death pile of books and making money, and they're not getting thrown away. They're not getting wasted. I'm finding people who want them, which, like, I want to make money and I don't want to waste my time, but it is fairly important to me that they not be just thrown away. I could have just thrown them away a long time ago. For them to land with collectors or resellers who specialize in those things, who can find collectors, I wouldn't have moved these books that are worth $1 a piece with me and moved them around a bunch of times if I felt like throwing them away was an option. So stuff that people were buying, The Cannibal Who Overate. Now, like, 80s books are like this scale. This scale of book is like probably late 40s, early 50s. Paper rations for the war made these a popular size of book, and then they stuck around for a little while later. The Venturous Lady. Like, just cool old books with some of, like, these sold in a big lot for like $2, but then like this one went for like $14 or $15 all by itself. And I legitimately do not know what the comps are for these. And to be quite honest, they sell so slow on eBay that they're not worth listing, in my opinion. So if you could list this for $45 and in a year and a half someone give it to you, I would way rather sell it for $16 1 minute after putting it on the camera and not even having to write a listing. The SLOW Nickel, this is something that gets said on my channel a lot, not necessarily by me, but definitely in the comments, and somebody said it again today. The fast nickel is objectively better than the slow dime. You make money faster when you take whatever you can get and reinvest it and then multiply that. And rather than focusing on a particular multiplier so that you know that you're doubling or 10xing or whatever your money, getting the money returned, reinvesting the profit at any amount of margin is objectively, mathematically, statistically, significantly better than holding and waiting for more money. Because the time is a commodity in this scenario as well. You do eventually, like, we all die. You run out of time. There's only so much time in a week, in a month, to make money. And so holding for this book, I randomly said $45. I got 15. I have 0 into it. Holding for 2 years for a year for the other $30, instead of taking the 15 that I got for it to Goodwill and quadrupling that today, taking the 15 to Goodwill and 4xing it today instead of waiting 2 years, because this is worth $45 and I need to get $45 for it because I am invested and it has value and I need to protect the market, and the market value says that it's worth this, and I'm undercutting other sellers none of that actually matters. What matters is getting product that people want, getting a return, or reinvesting that return. And if you look beyond that to say, this has a certain market value and I need to justify what I'm doing by getting the market value, I need to get my personal self-worth out of making sure that I can get top dollar for things. You need to change your perspective, because flipping things for profit objectively, mathematically, statistically works better. Fast nickel instead of slow dime. It just does. Unless we're talking fast $5, slow $1,000. Like, there is some place where it would make sense to hold, but for the kind of things that I sell, I don't sell any. I've sold 2 items in 20 years that were worth more than $1,000. I've sold probably less than 2 dozen worth more than $500. So I'm not talking about, take $200 for a car because you need to get your return back. I'm talking about pedestrian, regular things that are worth between $20 and $100. Make a profit and move on. Incidentally, this book right now is listed on eBay by somebody for $40 plus $5 shipping. So $45 is probably a good number for me to have been working with. Of course, that person had it listed for $199, 90-something% off to get it to $40. I don't understand that tactic either. Anyway, we sold 3 items on eBay yesterday, so I actually did better on Whatnot last night than I did on eBay this morning, or all of yesterday. So let's get those orders. You guys will be proud of me because all of my orders are plus shipping today. All 3 of them. This is a DS game, no case, no manual, no nothing, just a loose DS game. Camping Mama Outdoor Adventures. Sold for $11.50 plus shipping. These are the parts to a Crossfire game, and they are these are just like guide rails, and I listed them assuming somebody would need them to fix their Crossfire game. I paid like $4 for the game and sold the targets for $25 plus shipping, and then these sold for $6 plus shipping. So I made a profit even on these, but I was well into the profit before that. And then I paid $25 for this shirt. It is single stitch. It is the best Power Ranger graphic I've ever seen, and it is 1994. But it's an adult size small, and it even measures small for an adult size small. So unfortunately, that's not big enough to really be worth much, but it is cool, and I made a little bit of a profit, $40 plus shipping. So the reality is, this week's sales have been abysmal so far. I want to try to get to like $1,000 payout on the week like I do on my normal weeks, but right now I literally have no money because I spent all of my spendable funds on poly mailers and labels. And so we are at Wednesday. So I'm saying all that to say, me and the girls are at Goodwill. We're gonna go see if we can find anything that'll flip quick, try to stimulate some economic growth. There's Evelyn. Say hi.
Hi.
We're gonna go into Goodwill. Yay! Smiles? Nope. Anything good in this case? I don't see anything interesting. Staplers, if they're not pressed up too high. 5 and 440. How about some sunglasses? I don't see anything. Well, look at stuff on the bottom. So, like, here's a bunch of shoes in the case. There's also these watches, and you think, oh, those must be nice if they put them in the case. They're $9.99 new. There's triple whites. They're probably cool, but they may be $40 for all I know. How about some on clouds? I normally do really well if I Hokas and on clouds up here, but we'll have to see what they're asking. Dresses and coats. Massimo. These look like mostly ladies' coats, but they don't normally differentiate between men's and women's coats. Avenue jeans. So these are Air Force One triple whites. I'm not sure what that Nike symbol means. These, I'm not entirely convinced these are real. Matter of fact, the longer I look at them, the more I'm less convinced they're real. It's an odd place for the tag. Maybe they're older and I just don't recognize them. So these are $30 though, which is pretty expensive. Hokas, these are pretty worn, but they probably, well, I don't know about that. I was gonna say they probably have some life in them. God, they are beat to death for $15. Definite pass on those. On Clouds in decent shape for $11. I think they're pretty dirty. We'll look them up. On Cloud. $99,702. So this particular model of On Cloud, there are 200 listed and 35 sold. They're $11 and they might sell for $30. So I'm definitely gonna not buy those. So that's the deal. These are Court Vision, not Air Force Ones, and I noticed that they didn't say Air Force One after I said that. Triple white, but they are a cheap shoe, and I'll show you where literally you could buy this exact same thing for $30 shipped. So I definitely don't need it for $30 used. So this is the kind of thing that I regularly do fairly well with, but these are not matched for almost any of them. So $5 for a whole bunch of silverware could be really good, but not a bunch of mismatched stuff. And Goodwill doesn't care, they just put it out. But what somebody donated was a pile of randomness. So that's not gonna work for me. Okay, so who needs some true vintage pen press? This is regular practice in the 1940s to have your collar button under. So this is what's known as a loop collar. Loop collar as opposed to a button collar. And at $4.88, I think that is probably a desirable enough thing to get. If you find like a rayon Hawaiian loop collar, a long sleeve, that would be really desirable. But even just the loop collar, I'm gonna pick this up and see what I can do with it for $5. Okay, so we picked up, this is a Me reader. So if you have the books, these, this thing will read the books. And Evelyn has a handful of these, but we don't have those books. But maybe the reader's worth something, or maybe they have the books over in the book section. I found these at $3.10. They're a little more than I'd want to spend, but I still think they're good. They're vintage Tonkin caterpillar hats, and they're just a really nice look. And then this giant bird, we'll see what it does. So we're gonna find out, but this is something that I am always keeping an eye out for. Like, this is a red panda. You know, you don't see plush of a red panda. You don't generally, another unicorn. You don't usually see plush of a buffalo. So plush of a giraffe. Now, a lot of people will tell you, and they aren't necessarily wrong, that some of these Star Wars Build-A-Bears, no.
How about that too?
But if she was this pattern, that would be better.
George is dirty.
George is dirty. Guess we can't get it. I gotta put it back. I don't think that one, even though that raccoon. How about this skunk?
He's really dirty.
Skunk feels older.
I didn't know he was dirty.
Aurora. We'll grab these at $2 a piece. We're gonna find out whether or not. And put them back if they're not. Somebody's sleeping. This puzzle is gigantic and sealed. And sealed puzzles were doing really, really well during lockdowns, but now they don't do quite as well. But that doesn't mean at $3, this 1,000-piece panoramic of Sydney Bay, Sydney Harbor, isn't still good. You guys didn't see me pick up Stratego. That's going to almost undoubtedly be a good one at $1.84. And then there was a couple other ones. This one is worth comping. And then Mine Trap. Sometimes this is good and sometimes it's not, but $1.84. I'm going to figure out whether or not. I don't know what makes them good and what makes them not good, but we're going to comp it and find out. Not sure what's going on with these golf clubs here for $1.84, but Lady Cougar could be a real interesting golf tournament. That one's not flashy enough, but that's an old bowling bag. I don't know that I would pick it up, but sometimes those can do well. Linens? Anything in the linens? $5.47. I know that I've sold this exact same one because it's Bratz and they do well. I have to look at my own comp and see what it sold for. Finding Nemo. Yes, love. So let's just be clear on this Bratz blanket. If this was at a yard sale for like $2, I would for sure be picking it up. $5.50. I think it might sell for $20 fairly quickly. About as easy as it can be to deal with, but $20 might not get it to sell quick. So I think I'm gonna leave it behind. This is the kind of thing that I might just pick up. The only listing for it, and it's $3.10, is a replacement bowl. There are no listed, none sold for a complete unit, and this one is used, but it's used in the box in nice condition. And small appliances are so easy to sell, and this one couldn't possibly be easier. I think I've convinced myself we're buying it, even though there's nothing on the market to prove whether or not it's worth buying. How about the 1 quart crock pot with the lid and the whole deal? Definitely worth comping. I don't know why this thing's calling to me. I've done well with toasters. It's pretty dirty. And it's Black & Decker, so it's not like it's super special.
It's amazing. You have to come look at it.
I have to come look at it because it's amazing?
Yeah.
How about Gore-Tex? Always piques my interest. I'm not familiar. Oh, yes I am. Those are good, especially for $10. I don't know that I'm as in love with that Hot Wheels track as you are. Kitchen Works. It's got a lot of parts. It's a cool looking thing, and it's $8.11. I do not often get excited about Walking Dead t-shirts. This one's dated 2013, and it's kind of an all-over print, especially considering it's modern. They don't really do all-over prints, and I've never seen it before, and it's on that old fruit tag. This Jordan shirt is $5. Michael Jordan. Probably vintage even. And that makes me think that they noticed that it is totally thrashed out. Like ridiculous. I have never found this brand, so I'm not sure quite what to think of the $15 tag on it. They look short.
Ooh.
Women's True Religion. And these are Miss Me, which used to be good but are not really anymore. Ruby didn't call you anything. So there's 3 listed,
No, she
0
called me
sold.
ugly.
That exact same pants at $15. Those are all listed like $75, $80, $100. But I think I'm still, if they were regular price pants, I'd probably pick them up just on the chance that they could be worth listing for, $25, $30 and sell them quick. But at $15, I don't want to list them for $35 and wait forever, and there's no sales record at all. So that's interesting. If they're not too expensive, 30 for 30 box sets at $7.50 a piece. I'm pretty sure they won't be worth picking up. I didn't realize Barbie would be out on Blu-ray already. I wouldn't necessarily expect any Fear and Loathing to be worth something, but this is really something else. So we're gonna look into that. So I kind of suck at media unless it's books, which I'm kind of good at least I feel reasonably comfortable looking and determining what is worth my time to comp. But I think unless you scan everything on DVDs, it's like there's just no rhyme or reason that I can see why Dutch with Ed O'Neill and My Superhero Ex-Girlfriend would be worth a fortune, and Fear and Loathing is worth $7. Like, it's hard to, there isn't any judging a book by its cover with DVDs that I can find. Tupper Toys. My girl's doing good. She's just sitting in this chair. The Tupper Toys tend to do well, especially this particular one at $1.84. I'm guessing that's a pickup. And I like to buy old pencil sharpeners, and we'll see whether or not this one is worth getting. So this guy, there's 8 listed, 4 sold, 50% sell-through rate, $2 into like 8 plus shipping probably. In my mind, that's a pass. 225 listed, 38 sold, and probably $12. At $7.88, 2X, this Reebok hoodie is made in the US. It's 90s vintage, but I think it's probably just too generic to be worth much. So $5.44. This is maybe $20 free shipping. So I don't think it's worth getting either. This used to be a very high-end brand of boots. I don't know if it still is. I suspect it probably is since they're Gore-Tex. We'll see. I mean, they're cowhide made in Italy. So these are a pretty low sell-through, but 11 should be 9 into like 70. So I think they're still probably worth the pickup. These are really cool looking shoes in a good size at men's 10.5. Pretty good shape. And they're $9, but there are 3 listed and none sold. So evidently there's no interest. The ones that are listed are $70 a pair, and they got a lot of heel drag. So I think we're gonna put them back.
Oh.
I almost missed these Angry Birds for $5 for 4 of them. Who is it?
It's Bear in the Big Blue House.
Bear in the Big Blue House. $3.10 for a booster seat. So this surprises me. There's 37 of these listed. You can buy the whole thing for $20, but the crock by itself has sold for $35. The lid sells for $10. The body sells for $10 plus shipping. That's a pickup for sure. It's got almost 100% sell-through rate, but not quite. But I'll make a whole bunch of money on it. I got to figure out this guy. We're just gonna go with these because I think they're almost undoubtedly. I gotta read this me reader.
How do you
That
know?
is a cool picture frame. He doesn't have any skin, is what Evie said. Dia de los Muertos, Ashland. So we ended up spending $45 and just nearly 2 hours in there. Let's look at what we got. The food mincer, I have no idea what that's worth. Spent $3. This is for Evie to keep. Another $3 on a pencil sharpener. $3 a piece on these Caterpillar hats. Vintage snapback. That one's dirty, but it's not. It'll just dust right off. These are a little bit of an outlier because they could be really good ones, and I don't know how the market's doing on these, but paid $5 for them. Paid $1.84 for this reader, and then the game I'll probably just donate back. Sunglasses for the kids. Tupper toy, we paid $1.85 for that. We paid $1.85 for this Stratego. I didn't even open it because it has some pieces in it. It's worth $1.85 for the Spy. We paid $9 for these. They don't meet my metrics because they don't have a very good sell-through, but the upside is like $70 on them, so I can probably make 50, or I could probably list them for 49 free shipping, make 30, and sell them in a very short time. This thing I didn't expect to come out quite the way it was because it's not worth selling as a whole thing, but each piece is worth selling individually. This is hard to comp, but anytime I see a loop collar vintage shirt, I know it's from the 40s, early 50s, and I'm gonna pick that up. Evelyn's supposed to be buckling into her seat.
But I can't buckle myself up without help.
You can, you just don't want to. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Like, comment, and subscribe.